The Legend of Zelda, a game of exploration and treasure hunting, a child moving on to adulthood and learning of the world at large. But how could that translate into stealth? Now before we get into it, we're not saying that Breath of the Wild will be a stealth game, but how its elements can translate into stealth mechanics. For those of you who have played the Halo game ODST, you can understand what we mean. A game not aimed at the stealth genre of games, but has mechanics that can help the player in tough situations. So today on the Chamber of Sages channel, we're going to talk about 10 ways Breath of the Wild can be a stealth game. So without further ado, let's get into it. Number 10. The lack of readily available health in the grass. For those of you who are huge Zelda fans, you know that when you're in danger, health is not too hard to come by. However, in Breath of the Wild that will not be the case. This in turn will cause a shift in how one fights enemies. If you fight a huge group of enemies, you can and will get hurt. With no easy way to heal yourself, avoiding battles may be your best option. As we have seen in the gameplay footage, there are other ways to deal with the threat than head-and-head combat, but that will be later. For reckless gamers who are used to not blocking attacks, I'm sorry, but you might have to use that shield, or find a way around that moblin battle formation. Stealth perhaps? Number 9. Clothing and its many uses. In Breath of the Wild, there is another quite interesting mechanic, the use of clothing to help in certain environments. Ideas like not wearing metal armor in a thunderstorm, or for example, using the iron boots to get to the bottom of a lake without the Zora armor. We've seen Link use clothes to aid him, but in Breath of the Wild, there might be other mechanics to help you outside of wearing clothes, to help Link stay cool or keep warm. Though we have not seen it, there may be clothes to help Link blend into his current environment, not too different from Snake in Metal Gear. Now we are not saying they will have this, but it is a possibility that will help shake up the mechanics that we understand in The Legend of Zelda. Number 8. The group dynamic. Granted, this might not sound like it connects, but hear me out. In Breath of the Wild we have seen bomb arrows. These seem to be key to taking down some different enemies. But what about small huddled together groups of enemies? Now assuming that not every enemy is huddled close up to keep warm, we have to ask, how are you going to deal with that war band guarding the chest you need? Most of the time you can run in, sword slashing, and worry of the health loss later. As we said, that is not the best option anymore. What about the classy approach of stealth? Now we are not talking about waiting till night and keeping an eye on the guard patrol patterns, but something similar. You have regular arrows, they are quiet. Maybe taking out the tower snipers is your best move. We have seen that in Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword. This might be the proper evolution. Number 7. Using your gear in new ways. This one we have little to work with, but hear me out. We've seen the Sheikah Slate move environmental objects, and we hope to see Link use the hookshot to move around the map. Maybe these can be used on Link's hidden adventure to allow him to be more like Batman. Joking aside, the hookshot is Link's grapple gun, the boomerang his batarang, and Link is known for his tools. It seems if you need to, you can glide in silently, take out your enemies, and hookshot out there before you can be seen. Link may not be a ninja, but he can be more like the Bat than most game characters. Plus, Sheikah are ninjas in their own right. It just seems to make sense he knows how to be like them. Number 6. Cover use. Though not all stealth games glue you to a wall, most do rely on the use of cover to keep you from being seen. We have seen this used in the series mostly to dodge attacks and projectiles. But what if they have much more use in Breath of the Wild? Link hiding behind a wall of firing arrows, taking out enemies from the shadows sounds interesting, but in this game could it be a reality? Number 5. Enemy line of sight. This is something all stealth games have in one form or another, and in the Zelda series it has been used too. Wind Waker, when Link was sneaking around the Forsaken Fortress. We know that the Zelda creators used past games to enhance later titles. This could be something we see returning. Link sneaking around at night, hiding from lights, stealthily eliminating enemies in fortresses, or simply dodging guards. Number 4. Environment is key. This one you all might already know from gameplay footage. Link rolling boulders on enemies or dropping bees on enemies. These are key to proper stealth, and we see Link properly using them in the demo. Does this mean all enemies might have objects around them to help remove them from Link's path? We are seeing The Legend of Zelda evolving, but this makes the game have more interesting elements. Number 3. Sheikah Slate Markers. Now, I hear you asking, how does a marker help with stealth? Simply put this as a reference to the Far Cry series. Now, we will not flat out say that this is something we might see. Link scouting out bases and using the slate to mark his enemies, but we know Link can leave markers. For some of us, they could be used to mark out where the heaviest density of enemies are. Will they refine this and make it Link Far Cry? We doubt it, but it would make Link have much more tools in his belt for stealth. Maybe this is how the Sheikah have remained in the shadows so easily. Number 2. Enemy alarms. This is something we have seen in the series, something key to the stealth genre of games. Enemies that raise their horns calling for help, and creating a swarm of trouble for the hero. Now we doubt we will get the classic Metal Gear sound when Link is spotted, and hear the horn sound creating a mess that no one wants to deal with, but people will have to keep this in mind on their adventure. Do you run in and risk being overwhelmed by moblins, or do you use stealth to take out the alarm with your arrows? That choice, like any other, is up to the player. Number 1. Your playstyle. This can sound like a cop-out to most people, but listen. In the Zelda series there has always been multiple types of players, some who hunt for every secret, others who just want to live in the world for a few hours, and simply people who play for the story. Stealth is another path, and the playstyle you are given, like Assassin's Creed. You don't need stealth, but it is something you can use to enhance your experience. Will you need it? That is likely up to the player, but for those of us here, we love the option. Thank you all for watching this Chamber of Sages video. We really love having you here and relaxing with our videos on screen. If you enjoyed this, please give us a like. If you have any other topics you would like us to talk about, please leave a comment. We here at the Chamber really love your feedback and are glad for your support to keep this project going. And behind the scenes we're working on other projects. Please stay tuned. And hey, if you have some friends who love Zelda as much as we do, please refer them here. Thank you again and have a fun and safe week.